I don't have anything to celebrate because I'm missing one of my kids. I miss him. I don't know where he is, and the authorities aren't investigating.
There are thousands of mothers throughout Mexico searching for their disappeared children. President Enrique Peña Nieto promised that his government would help them find their loved ones. But these women say they feel frustrated, angry, and let down. More than 26,000 people have gone missing in Mexico since 2007. That's when the former government declared war on the drug cartels and violence exploded. After President Peña Nieto took office, he formed a special missing persons unit to help investigate the disappearances. It's been a year since the unit was created, but Sarah is still waiting for help. Investigators haven't collected evidence, tracked down phone or email records, or traced her son's bank accounts. Every time a new mass grave is discovered, she calls the forensic experts and gives them details about her son.
I'm the detective. I'm looking for him alive or dead. I don't want to give up hope, but I have to consider he might be dead. Otherwise, his body might be in a mass grave turning to dust, and I'll never find him.
Not enough cases have been solved, and they still haven't finished creating a national database for the missing. The human rights director of the Missing Persons Unit is committed but frustrated.
It doesn't matter what we do, even if we kill ourselves trying to find our children. Unless we find them alive, the mothers will always feel we aren't doing enough.
Her words may sound offensive, but they're accurate. Sarah and the other mothers say all they know is that their children were taken alive, and that's how they want them back. Rachel Levin, Al Jazeera, Mexico City.
Too dangerous to display, let alone send back to Germany. Still ahead this news hour.
I'm Shihab Ratansi at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, where the U.S. keeps a collection of Nazi art.
And life gets increasingly difficult in Syria, where one of life's necessities is running out. And in sport, a horrifying crash in the latest round of the IndyCar Championship in the United States. Those details coming up.
It started coming when I turned 65. This is just what I've gotten them last week.
It's filling up my inbox on a daily basis.
I just retired, but figuring all this out, it feels like a full-time job.
Feeling a little overwhelmed by all the mail about Medicare options? Make Medicare choices easy by calling Select Quote Senior at the toll-free number listed on the screen. Your Select Quote Senior Advisor will listen to your unique healthcare needs and impartially shop over 20 Medicare insurance options from top-rated carriers. All you have to do is pick the option that's right for you. Whether it's a Medicare supplement, Medicare Advantage, or a prescription drug plan, with Select Quote, choosing the right coverage is quick and simple. So ditch the mail and delete the emails. Get started now and get back to living life. Call Select Quote at the toll-free number listed on the screen.
Call 800-498-7184, 800-498-7184.
Welcome back. A reminder of the top stories on Al Jazeera. Thousands of people are voting in a referendum on self-rule in parts of eastern Ukraine. It's been rejected as illegal by the international community and described as a disaster by the Kiev government. A suicide car bomber has killed at least 11 Yemeni army officers in the southern coastal city of Mukalla. The blast appeared to be a revenge attack by Al-Qaeda over the Yemeni army's campaign. South Sudan's ceasefire, which is meant to stop the fighting, could be on the verge of collapse. The agreement was struck on Friday between President Salva Kiir and former Vice President Riek Machar. The warring parties accuse each other of restarting violence. More now on our top story, the crisis in Ukraine. The U.S. has condemned the referendum on self-rule as a violation of international law and an attempt to create more disorder. But as Jonah Hull reports from Donetsk, many people there have ignored the warnings and cast their vote anyway.
Hastily arranged, low budget. The referendum drew large numbers of voters to a fairly small number of polling stations in towns and cities across the east of Ukraine. This was the regional centre of Donetsk, would-be seat of the People's Republic of Donetsk. The ballot paper asks whether voters agree with the proclamation of the People's Republic or not. The wording is vague on just how much autonomy the Republic should have. Most here want little more to do with the central government in Kiev.
Well, big crowds have turned out to vote. Just one question on the ballot paper, a simple yes or no. The problem is there are multiple different interpretations of what exactly it means.
We want to live with Russia in friendship, says this man. This woman isn't entirely sure what she's voted for. I voted for our national republic, she says.
I want peace in this country. I don't want this horrible mess from Kiev that they created in the Maidan, a war, the killing of people, and it continues here.
It isn't easy to find a voice in opposition to all this. To do so, we've travelled to the town of Orlivka, firmly in anti-government hands, where one man was prepared to talk to us. He didn't want to be identified.
A lot of people who are against federalization, and even more people who are for it, in general, they have not understood what kind of a threat it poses and what can happen as a result. It appears that Russia doesn't want us, and we are parting from Ukraine. Left on its own, this region will head towards catastrophe.
Are you afraid here at the moment?
Difficult to say. I'm tired of being afraid. But it's very tense after several killings of innocent people who are simply against this movement.
The referendum has gone ahead in defiance of calls by Russia's President Putin for a delay. The government in Kiev says it's illegitimate and warns of a descent into the abyss. Some here feel that's already happened. Jonah Hull, Al Jazeera, Donetsk.
And I'm going to put that point to our guest, Maria Lipman, a political analyst at Carnegie Moscow Center. One of the voters there, somebody who didn't vote, was worried that this would now leave the region in the abyss. Do you think Russia will prevent that from happening?
Well, actually, I do not think the referendum will have any practical consequences. Actually, even the head of the Electoral Commission told a reporter yesterday that the result will not be a secession of the east of Ukraine from Ukraine, nor will it be an annexation by Russia or an adjoining by Russia, however you call it. Also, the legitimacy of this referendum can be called in question, to say the least. It is not even clear whether there are lists of eligible voters everywhere. It is not clear whether ballots can be delivered to the center of the region of Donetsk because some of the roads are blocked. And short of practical consequences, I do not think this referendum will add much to a very difficult situation that has already emerged over there. What the referendum says, and that's for sure, is that people in that region resent the government in Kiev and do not recognize it as their legitimate leadership.
Explain to me the difference between this referendum and the referendum we saw in Crimea, because when the people voted there that they wanted to leave, Russia stepped in. Why should this one be any different?
Well, these two regions are very different, and I would just cite that in Crimea there was a majority that was in favor of becoming part of Russia. And in Russia per se, over 80% of people over the years regarded Crimea as part of Russia, even though they were not ready to take action for it. These regions in the east of Ukraine are very different, and according to a recent poll, only only some 12 or 13% want to become part of Russia. The problem there is resentment, and the problem is that those regions would not recognize their government for now, but it's not quite clear what it is that they want. There is certainly